everyone.
Hi.
We're Yemi and Jasmine, co-founders and co-hosts of The Spill.
Welcome to season 2, and this is episode 2 of The Spill and Wind Down Wednesday, where we feature amazing Black women-owned founders and brands, where we can amplify their voices and their journeys and their stories of what it is to be a Black woman founder or an entrepreneur of a business in this time. So this show
We've got two amazing sisters who are the founders of QuickHire. So if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about you, that'd be great.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for having us. We're really excited to be here. My name is Angela Mwezi Hall. Like I said, or like you all said, we are sisters, and this has been a business that we've been working on for quite some time, and we're really excited to share you guys about QuickHire. So I'll let Deborah introduce herself as well.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited to be here. My name is Deborah Mwezi Gladney. And yes, as Angie said, we're sisters. We're children of immigrant parents. Our parents came here from Uganda, Eastern Africa. So that's a big part of who we are. We're wives. I'm a mom of 3 boys. We have a lot going on in addition to QuickHire, but we're super excited to chat.
Wow. There's a lot going on there. Both of y'all are sisters, wives, and entrepreneurs.
Throw that on the side, right?
That's 4 different things.
It's fun.
It's fun. I will say, Deborah has 3 children. I am just auntie of the year. I'm auntie of the
I'm
year.
not there yet. Don't give me anything extra. Oh my gosh. Well, I absolutely love what you guys are doing. Can you describe a little bit more about QuickHire and how you got to create it and what inspired it? And also how you were able to start it during COVID?
Yeah, all great points. This is actually an idea that I've had for quite some time. And I tell people, like, years ago, this idea came about. I put it on my vision board for like 2017. So this is an idea that I'm glad that we are moving forward. But I have a background in career and educational advisement. And one day a student came to my office. She had all of these paper applications. She was trying to find a local job opportunity at like a grocery store or a retail store. And she needed my help with her applications and also wanted to borrow my computer to continue her job search. And it struck me in that moment that while it's been quite some time since I've worked in those type of arenas, and Deborah herself as well, and even longer since our parents who migrated here from Uganda over 30 years ago, the process of finding these jobs really hasn't changed much. A lot of times you still have to physically walk into their location to even ask if they're hiring. And if so, they may give you a paper application or send you to a lot of different websites to send out multiple applications. So when that initial situation happened, I talked to Deborah about it, and we really dug deeper, and we realized that there really hasn't been an advancement when it comes to skilled trade work and service industry with the job search process. If you are looking for a white collar job, there are so many resources for you, whether it's Indeed and ZipRecruiter, there's so many tools. But if you're in the skilled trade industry or service industry, there's not so much. But it wasn't until COVID happened and we saw millions of people lost their jobs, especially in this arena. I always say Deborah gave me a call at 4 a.m. And mind you, she just had a baby during this time, so her sleep schedule was a little off. But she called me. She called me at 4 a.m. saying, now is the time. We have to launch QuickHire. There's millions of people that need to be connected to job opportunities. And so COVID was really the catalyst for us to get our platform launched.
Yes, and the big piece out of that is that if you decide to have a baby, you're not going to sleep.
Yeah.
That's a big takeaway. But no, and just to add to that, as Angie was saying, with COVID happening, also people were learning how to reskill. So many people were furloughed and having to, how do I just put food on the table? I just need a job. And so for us, we wanted to be able to connect people to the jobs, because there definitely were a lot of companies that actually had to hire up more in order to keep the economy going. Well, there was delivery drivers, or, I mean, you think about all the toilet paper, those manufacturers, and Amazon.
Everybody went crazy over, like, I was
yes,
like,
Yeah.
exactly. So exactly, we need toilet paper, okay? At 4 a.m. call, really, I had been watching CNBC, and that morning they had announced the amount of unemployment claims, and it was like 3.3 million or something crazy. And it just really struck me in that moment, like, oh my goodness, like there are millions of people who are trying to figure out, how the heck do I put food on the table for my family? How do I keep this, roof over my head?
Yeah.
And that was really,
if you were not like someone who had an online business, or if you were not able to immediately translate your skills over to like an I don't know how to what's it
exactly.
right, a virtual platform, you were basically SOL.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you could just kind of feel the unrest in not just the United States. This was a global thing that was impacting everybody around the world. And I don't think there's really been like a moment in time where something impacted every single person around the world in some way. And so, yeah, it was that morning where they announced the job loss. And I was like, Angie, this is insane. And also, I can't find toilet paper. So what are we going to do?
2 versus 1 step.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like one thing that I thought was interesting was I heard some statistic around the number of companies that were born or were created during the 2008-2009 crisis. So I feel like QuickHire is going to be one of these companies that people are going to look back on 5-10 years from now and say, the pandemic, as awful as it was, as many people as were impacted, it was also a time for so much creativity and for the birth of so many new things. And honestly,
the bill was birthed.
The
bill was birthed because at that time, and not only did we see the unemployment that you're talking about, but also the rise of businesses that don't normally get this much exposure, or the exposure that it got during COVID. So absolutely.
Yeah, we missed going to pop-ups and connecting with people, and
yeah, that has been something so beautiful to watch, as far as people's creativity during this time, like new businesses, finding out ways to keep their businesses going, being innovative and things like that, and even having to stretch themselves, like Deborah and I, we do not have a tech background. When we started this, when we started this, we were like, all right, so now what are we gonna do?
Great.
Okay. So they say that you're gonna need something about code and a developer, and so we didn't know where to start, but really COVID pushed us to stretch and to learn. And we were working from home at that time, and so we had maybe a little bit more time to dig into our more individual projects. So being able to watch people optimize that quarantine time was really inspiring for us, and it was really important for us with building QuickHire as well.
You bring up an interesting point, and when you both mentioned how, like, okay, so nobody had a background in tech. So did you have any community, any friends, any coworkers that did and were able to lend you a hand, or even just people who were like there to say, go Angie, go Deb, like y'all got this. Like how were you able to, or how did your community leverage this time to help you get going?
Especially as Black women going into tech, and we often hear that the statistics around how few women there are and how few Black women there are in tech. So
right.
How did your community come together, or did you have the find new communities
Yeah.
to support
Yeah.
you.
At the network.
Yeah, all of that. And that's so big. And I'm gonna have Angie jump in here because she actually had somebody in her community that really helped us steer in the right direction. As far as, you know, because she launched her own kind of tech platform. And so we were able to at least learn from her on the do's and the don'ts. So Angie, you want to kind of jump in?
Yeah, so I have a friend of mine, her name is Cassie Martinez. She launched an app called the Lady Lab, which is an awesome platform as well. And she was a person that I met. I live in Los Angeles. I've met her out here, and we've never really talked business or how she built, but I've always watched her. You know, I've always watched her and admired the things that she was doing. And so when we had this idea, I was like, who can I ask? And she immediately popped into my mind, and she was so gracious. And that's the thing about it is because women, you know, minority women, she's Hispanic. So we want to, you know, empower each other. Like, you have an idea, like, let's talk through it. Let me teach you from my mistakes. And so in that first probably week of figuring out how we wanted to start, she really was like, these are the do's and don'ts. These are the things that, you know, were failures that happened along the way. These are things that really worked well for me. This is how I found a developer. You know, she didn't have a tech background either, you know, so it was like, look into this, look into that. And from there, just that initial conversation was so helpful in us, like, not making, you know, mistakes, like costly mistakes. Because when you're creating a business, a lot of the mistakes along the way will hit you financially, and that will hinder you from being able to advance. So just having as many conversations before you spend $1 is really important. So after that conversation, Deborah and I had so many like panel discussions. Like, we made lists of people that worked in tech at all, open businesses, they worked in these type of spaces, they worked in skilled trade, they worked in the service industry, and we had panel discussions. What do you like about, you know, the process of finding jobs? What do you hope to see? Like, what do you think of these ideas? You know, when we talked to the people that we met in the tech background, we asked their opinion. How do you like the look? How do you like, you know, what we're building, before we spent a dime? And really having those discussions were critical on being able to make the right choices to launch QuickHire in the beginning stages.
Yeah, that's really cool to hear that you network with people who are in, you know, tech and similar industries, and also business owners and I love that. I feel like that's a quotable moment. Like, gather as much information as you can before you spend like one dime.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I should have did the same thing before I started mine. Because when you mentioned costly mistakes, I mean, I'm still up and running, but I definitely made costly mistakes before my business really like started to take off. That I guess in hindsight were lessons and blessings for me, but it's real. It's definitely important to have those conversations before you start spending the money, because you can get it and as you said, not be able to go as far as you want to early on.
Yeah,
and then go ahead, Angie. Okay, I'll go. No, I was just.
Angie or Deborah,
I'm not saying anything. Yes, no. Compliment.
No, I was gonna. Yes, Deborah.
I have a little sister too, so I was thinking like the dynamics and, you know.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say that obviously there are gonna be some learnings and some bumps and bruises that you just can't prevent, you know, and you just have to go through it and learn from them. So you obviously don't want to let good be the enemy of great and just let that kind of paralyze you to where you never move forward. But at the same time, you want, as Andrew was saying, you also don't want to go into it completely blind. And there are ways to minimize some of the risk as you go into it. And especially, it's going to give you that confidence in what you're building because you've done the research. So you're informed, the need and all of that good stuff. But Angie, go ahead.
No, and then I was going to say that, doing our research, having our discussions with people in our network really made us realize how powerful our community is. Like,
Yeah.
We may, go to college and, we have these connections and family and friends. But when you actually sit down and speak to them, like a lot of people in our communities are doing amazing things, and they actually have great insight, but they're just untapped. Untapped by us. There's a lot of other people that are taking advantage of their talents and resources and things like that. But sometimes we are afraid or just don't want to bother, or, we think that they're being stretched too much. So we'll just, but no, like they want to see us advance. They want to empower, especially, Black community. So having those conversations and connecting with people like that, like our community is powerful and is unstoppable. So that was something that was really inspiring as well.
Yeah.
I'll let you start that.
Yeah, I'll say now, how much time do I have today? Okay, I'll talk about the investor part, just because that is something that it's kind of fresh for us. And my husband, he has a top MBA from a top program, and still this going into pitching VCs was still brand new for us and still a learning experience. First of all, a lot of them don't even put their contact information on the website. So it's like, how do you even reach out to them? And that tells you the barrier. A lot of it is relationship based. And, for us, a lot of us don't have those type of relationships. So it's like, how do you expect us to be able to build those when they don't exist, and then you don't have contact information? So I think a lot of that and trying to figure out how to reach out. We did do a lot of cold pitching, but there are also a lot of great minority funds out there too, like Harlem Capital and others who are very forward and are forthcoming about how to reach out to them and stuff. Say that again.
I just found out about Harlem Capital today.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, so there are great ones out there doing some great work, but still big learning curve, learning valuations and all of that stuff. But I think there is a barrier when whoever you're pitching, first of all, doesn't even understand your experience. Yeah. And I think that that's a big part of it. And then no matter what anyone says, I think we all have underlying biases. And I think that when people see that there are two Black women who are trying to tackle creating a labor marketplace, there's some skepticism, right? Because like these women, they don't have the tech background, and they're not used to seeing two Black women creating a product like this. They've seen other things before, they've seen other spaces, other areas being tackled by Black women, but this one, not so much. So I think no matter what there has been, I think there still will continue to be some skepticism as we continue to progress. But I think it's going to take people like us showing that, hey, like we're just as, if not smarter than the people you're investing in. And I was telling Angie, like, we are grown, like we're both in our 30s. Like I have kids and a husband. This is not a game to me. This isn't, me taking your investment is not something that is just fun and games to me. At this point, I've lived enough and I know what I want out of life. And I think I've done pretty well to this point that should prove that, I'm going to do right by your investment. But right now, we're still in a stage in our country where we're having to continue to prove people wrong versus people willing to take a risk in us and us doing right by their belief in us. Yeah. And so it's going to take some time. But Angie, you can go ahead and chime in too.
Yeah, I think a couple things, like what you said about them not really understanding us and our background. I always talk about this conversation that I had when we were first starting out, and I was talking to someone about how to raise funds and things like that, and he was telling me that usually at the stage that you're at, if you're trying to raise $200,000, you should tap into your family and friends, and I'm like,
Oh,
who,
oh.
who of my family and friends has $200,000? But that is just shows them how disconnected they are to our reality. A lot of times, in our communities, we are the first ones really creating wealth, generational wealth. A lot of our peers were the first ones to go to college, and so unfortunately, there's not a lot of access to capital directly in our communities, and so we are in this world that is very much so powered by white men who have access to capital, who are able to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars just by going to their family, going to their friends, going to their community. And unfortunately, that's not something that we have been able to experience, but our children, okay, now that will be their experience. But
Yeah, and I will say it's a shame because those who do know, there is no harder worker than like the immigrant. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, if you don't know, like how hard when people come here with nothing, and what it takes to even build a life here.
yes.
It takes a certain individual, a certain amount of tenacity that cannot be taught or replicated, and to me, it's a shame that a lot of these people in the positions of power to invest, they are so disconnected from the immigrant experience, which is why I say it's like, I tell you, if for me, I would put all my dollars behind, an immigrant, because I know that they have the willpower to withstand what it takes to build and grow a startup, because it's difficult. And a lot of it is not so much about outperforming your competitor, it's about outlasting them. And I really do believe that immigrants have a lot of that tenacity already within them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty simple as far as getting on board. So everybody will come to QuickHire, whether you're a company or a candidate, and you'll answer just a few onboarding questions. For candidates, it's to help us match you with jobs in your area. And then for companies, it's to help you find candidates in your area. So we'll ask those simple questions. And then for candidates, you'll be brought to a home screen where you'll be able to apply to jobs. You'll swipe left to pass and swipe right to apply. That's a very familiar for a lot of people. Swipe. But that was very important for us. 3 out of 4 workers by 2025 are going to be millennials. And so we wanted the technology to be technology that they're used to. And so also for us, me and Angie, we've both had a lot of experience with applying for jobs, and I hated scrolling. I felt like and then the reality is too, this segment of the workforce, their phone is everything. It's their computer, it's everything to them. And so it has to be mobile first. So that's that. And then for companies, they'll come to a home screen where they can easily post to jobs. So we launched early September. And so this is just stage 1 of our development. We're trying to implement other features to make it more user-friendly and more program offerings and all that stuff. So this is kind of like the stripped down version of it. But there are thousands of jobs out there right now that people can apply to. Angie, what else am I missing?
So another thing is, this is specifically for skilled trade, service industry. People would probably traditionally call that blue collar, but we wanted to get away from the term blue collar because it has like a negative connotation. When we did a lot of panel discussion, people would say blue collar or unskilled workers. And it's like, what? Like these type of jobs take a lot of skill, whether it's customer service, whether it's working with heavy lifting and tools and operations and things like that. And so we wanted to really make sure that we're calling it skilled trades, skilled workers. So that's what you'll find in service industry. And a lot of times with this particular arena, people have told us, hey, a resume isn't everything. You know, you can go to the greatest MBA program, but I just want to know, are you a great fit for our company? You know, I could teach you how to be a cashier, but I can't teach you how to interact with our customers, which will keep coming, you know, bringing them back. And so we're integrating things that will be able to show people's personality traits. So not only can you upload a resume, but you can also do a 30-second introduction video, you know, introducing yourself, going a little bit further on your skills and showing off your personality. Also, you can put in a work model to live by, another way to just show, you know, a little personality there, because it's all about fit at the end of the day when it comes to preventing high turnover, which a lot of people experience in these positions. But yeah, but like Deborah said, this is phase one. We are working on phase two currently, which I'm very excited about. And so I'm, you know, continuing to tell people, continue to update, you know, the QuickHire app and check in, because currently we're onboarding new companies. And a big thing for us right now, when we were doing a lot of panel discussions and also in our own experience, I've applied to hundreds of jobs and sometimes I never hear back, you know, or I hear back a month later just to find out I didn't get the job, or, you know, or what may have you. So we wanted to solve that. So that's something that we're working on now in phase two, that with people apply to QuickHire companies, they'll hear back in 48 hours whether they're moving forward or not. Not necessarily saying that they have the job, but just that they're being considered or that they've been denied so that they can continue with their job search. So that's going to be in phase two.
Yeah, as Angie was saying, the 48-hour thing is something that we're currently working on. It's not a feature that's out right now, but we're hoping that it'll be done here shortly, because that is something we don't want people ghosted. You know, we don't want people's talents wasted waiting on the hiring process. You know, it's just costly to have talent sitting at home waiting to know if they are moving forward or not. So that's something really important to us.
Yeah, I would say that the video portion is probably one of, with the feedback that we've got, probably like a really favorite feature, because sometimes just off paper, you don't get, you know, the true identity of a person, whether it's a questionnaire or whether it's a resume, whether it's some kind of answer to a question, some kind of prompt, you know, you're not able to really see the person. So being able to have an intro video where, you know, I can show you how I'm presenting myself. I can show you how much effort I'm putting into this 30-second video. You know, the way, you know, am I cheerful? Am I, you know, things like that. I feel like people are like, I feel like I can kind of break through on people actually getting to see who I am more than what a paper can show.
Our big picture vision is to be able to create a workforce development community to where we can help them with career progression, not just with just jobs. So giving them feedback on how they're interviewing, and, you know, are there certain trainings that they need to be able to take their career to the next level, things like that. Just that feedback is so important for us throughout our entire career.
We have a favorite review. It's like the first one that pops up on the app. I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's by Mrs. Jonay, and the title reads, "Jobs in your area are real jobs." And
yeah, so she says, real jobs in your area that really want to hire people. Say it ain't so. So proud and excited for our hiring/job app created by some people who truly know what it's like to face the hiring process as women and as minorities. Can't wait to see where this app takes you, y'all. I imagine 50K downloads by next summer. So she is speaking some.
Come on now, speak it.
Speak it. Speak it. Yes.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm curious, how has it been working with your sisters on this? Like, how's that been? What's your favorite thing about working with your sister?
I mean, I definitely think that being a startup founder is really difficult. And I don't know how people are like solo founders. I don't know how they do it by themselves because
It's hard.
it's hard. I don't know, you know. But then I feel like for us, it's even sweeter because of how close we are. I think that no matter what, I always know the intentions behind Angie, and she always knows my intentions. And I think that that's really hard to find in someone that you haven't known all your life. And so at the end of the day, it's like, I'm going to love her no matter what. She's going to love me no matter what. If I botch a pitch presentation, it'd be like, girl, you could have did that better, but I still love you. You know, like it's like, we move on, you know? But even just being able to encourage one another when there are setbacks, because there will be setbacks, not having to deal with that by yourself. And now I see why so many businesses are born, but also die in this stage, because it's really difficult.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that I not only have somebody, but I have somebody who knows me so well to help us get to the next level.
Yeah. And I would say, like, Deborah and I are very close, and we have been creating all of our lives. While it may not have been an app, it may have been choreography to Aaliyah Rock the Boat, but, but we were always creating things. We were very like kind of musically inclined. We were very much so like, what can we build? What can we, let's harmonize, let's do this, let's do that. So we were all like, this idea of creating something is not new to us, this idea of tackling a space or like, we want to do this together is not new to us. And so it's just a bigger idea. We're no longer in the basement, we're no longer, creating music or wanting to do a music group at 13, but we are wanting to create bigger and brighter and more impactful ideas. Yeah. So,
but like y'all were in a whole music group.
Yeah, we were. But that is just, that just goes to the story of how we were always just creating. Like we always were just like, had an idea for something and wanted to do it together, and so it has been just a magical thing to witness the growth of the things that we have been able to create. And also like Deborah, I believe that Deborah is one of the smartest, most impactful people of our generation. And period, and so being able to watch her really go into the capacity of CEO or just watching, the presentations and the creating and the ideas and watching her walk in that purpose that I have always seen has just been so exciting, and even for myself, like I quit my job, recently, and Deborah was a huge factor of, we got this, we're going to do this together. Like, no fear, like we're not gonna let anything, stop us from, getting QuickHire off the ground. And I would not have been able to do that if that was not my sister behind me, because we know each other so well. We know, just by our body language, if we're stressed or if we're excited or like what we need to do to calm down or get into the rhythm. And so I think that we have an awesome opportunity here to make something great, to really change the trajectory of even our family, so it's like a bigger purpose, it's not just for us, but it's bigger than us. And that's another reason why we're going to make QuickHire work. Yes.
I want to stand up and clap. Like, wow. Oh my God. Wow. I am so proud of you guys. This is such an amazing story and journey. And I want some choreography on this Aaliyah video that you guys.
Oh.
Oh my gosh! If you guys have
I'm sure there's a video somewhere.
Oh my gosh!
You can just help us out just a little bit. We need some work on our choreography.
Yes.
Listen, I used to have them in dance boot camp in the basement for hours. and we would not finish until it was right. Okay. But I will say people can also find us on the web at getquickhire.com. And you can also reach out to us. You can find us on social media for Instagram at getquickhire. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, and you can always email us at hello@getquickhire.com.
Most importantly, download the app, QuickHire, one word. And yeah, we hope that people will check it out and will reach out to us. We'd love to hear from them. We really appreciate like our users right now. Every review, any interaction with them is so critical for us. And so we definitely want to hear from them. And we really appreciate you all for letting us join you all here today. This has been a great conversation, and we're excited for what's to come for you guys. We're excited to be a part of the spill.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Your time, your energy, for what you do for each other, for what you do for your families, and for the community. I know your app is going to be helping so many of these amazing people get amazing jobs, whether it's jobs they lost during this pandemic or even just, you know, their next big exciting opportunity.
We appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.